is, remember, this is known as the Salty Fish Alley. It's one of the smelly alleys in Canada back in the old days. So in 1870, here's a picture of it. This used to be a place where all the early Chinese fishermen, when they bring their catch here at this alley, they would come here and they would salt or scale their fish. Okay, and then anything that they don't sell, they dry it, they pack it, or they would send it to China. And so this is one of the place in Chinatown or the alley where it's well known, and when people walk by here, you smell the fresh, the fish smell. And in fact, yeah. So in fact, have you ever tried the salty fish? You should. I mean, if you go to any Chinese restaurant and it's just asked for the salty fish dish, it's usually a fried rice. It's really very tasty. It's a comfort food. You should try it. Okay. And while we're here, I want to talk about the history. So back then, the Chinese were very good fishermen. Okay, so they would bring their catch here from the bay, and they would come here and they would sell what they, catch. And if they don't, if they can't sell it, they would pack it and they would sell it to the store. And oftentimes, because of their small stature, because of the anti-Chinese sentiment back then, they were often bullied. And whatever they catch, sometimes they were taken, their business, or in fact, they were very successful fishermen. And oftentimes, other ethnic groups would come in and they would bully, take away their business. And often, in 1870, there was a movement against the Chinese, and there were riots. Because oftentimes they were blamed for taking jobs away from other groups. And because during that time, in 1870, there was an economic downturn. And everybody was, and also the gold wasn't that much gold to begin with. So people came back here, all in San Francisco, and that's why there are a lot of anti-Chinese sentiment. And oftentimes they get eaten if they walk outside Chinatown. So life was hard back then. And in fact, there was a rally in Chinatown led by Dennis Kearney, saying that the Chinese must go. And it's very similar to what's happening today, what's going on. So just small, historical perspective of that. So the Chinese were here, they are fishermen, and they also fish in Monterey County, and in the shrimp industry in abalone as well. So a lot of history here in San Francisco and Chinatown. So let's go over there and I'll talk a little bit more about it. And so as you walk along, you'll see like a barrel of different fish. Okay.
哦，这个灯笼掉了，灯笼掉下来了。
So I just want to bring your attention that as you walk through Chinatown, you see a lot of family associations. And I want to spend maybe a couple minutes talk about the family association and the purpose of it. So when the early Chinese came over here, they did not believe in the police because there were a lot of corruption and so forth. So what happened is they would go to family associations such as this, Currently there are 155 family associations here in San Francisco, Chinatown. They still exist, but they serve a different purpose. So back then, in the 1870s or so, when the Chinese were here, when there was an issue or dispute, they would turn to their family association, almost like their representative for their dispute. So often there are three types of family associations. One is by family name. So if you belong, let's say you're Li or you're Wang, whatever your surname, you would join one of those family associations. If the second type is by district. District meaning that where you were from. So if you're from Canton or Hong Kong, Macau, whatever place, your original village or birth, you would join that association. Now, if you don't belong to any of those two, then you would join the Tong. Anyone know about the Tong or okay? So the Tong are just basic fraternal organizations. Their original, they were formed as a political group here in the U.S. to fundraise money so they would send back to China to overthrow the Qing dynasty. And so they are the type that, so you would join them and they would help you to settle your dispute. So in general, back then, the Chinese were not allowed to testify in court. They were not allowed to bring women or wives or family to America. And they also were not allowed to join any profession. So just imagine at that time what's happening. So what happened is when you have a dispute here, you would ask the Tong, one of your family association, to talk to the other family association, and they would settle the dispute. And so this is what, as a result, you'll see like a lot of family associations in Chinatown. Any questions about that? And today the Tongs are very different. Their purpose here is to provide social service. They do job training. They help people to translate and do immigration papers and so forth. The majority of the people right now using is still living here are mostly new immigrants. They're new immigrants, mostly seniors. In terms of the younger folks, or they move out. Yeah. So Chinatown today is more like for tourists, and then there are a lot of restaurants and so forth. But in terms of the people who are actually living in here are mostly new immigrant groups from China, and then also the seniors. And I'll talk a little bit about when we get to the alley.
I have one other question too. Like, so in Toronto, there's Chinatown. Then there's also market like the new Chinatown. Do you have that too here?
So this is the old Chinatown, but there are certain areas in San Francisco, like the Sunset or the Clement Street, the newer place for if you're interested in Chinese food or restaurants. Yeah. So this is the traditional way. Thank you for asking. Yeah.